Hey there, thank you for continuing supporting my videos and coming back to my channel. But you know what else needs your support? The Black Lives Matters movement. In the description below, you'll find links to donation pages, petition pages, and ways to support Black-owned businesses. Racism is still very much an issue, even if the topic is no longer trending. Thank you so much, and now back to your normal video. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, down to the last page. Now today's video I'll be doing a book haul, and this time it is my summer 2020 book haul. These will cover all the books that I bought over the summer, and that would be from about June all the way through to August. And just like last time, I'll be putting them into categories. There'll be any Audible books, or the ebooks that I bought, or the physical copy books, and then at the end all the book series. I will be going back to front this time, so I'll start with all the book series that I bought, and just like before, I will be putting timestamps in the description below, so then you could go to per category. So the only book series that I did buy over the summer was Time Riders, and there are 9 books in the whole series. There was a massive sale on, and I couldn't refuse, and clearly it's a time traveling sci-fi series. Time travel is probably one of the tropes that I absolutely am obsessed with. The tagline on this was, mess around with time and the world you know could become a world you don't. The Time Rider series follows the story of Liam, Sal and Maddie, and they should have died at some point in time, and just before death a mysterious figure saves them, but it wasn't actually a rescue. In fact, they were being recruited into a secret organization that no one knows exists, and the purpose of this organization, the Time Riders, is to fix broken history. Within this universe, time traveling exists, and there are people that are trying to go back in time to change it, and their purpose, the purpose of the Time Riders, is to protect humanity and stopping time from destroying the world. Now, like I said, time traveling is one of those tropes I absolutely love within all sci-fi, all media, everything. Time traveling is just so mysterious, it's just so alluring. Time traveling is
big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Now I'll be going over to all the physical books that I bought over the summer. So firstly, I'll start with all the books that I had bought but have already read, and those are That Reminds Me by Derek Owusu, Natives, Race and Class in the Ruins of the Empire by Akala, You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson, and Bernardine Evaristo, Girl, Woman, Other. Now, especially with That Reminds Me and Girl, Woman, Other, I've spoken about these, I've made feature videos about these, I've even got book reviews on these. So I've spoken about these 2 books in length, and absolutely adored them. The other 2 I had read for Black Aweenathon, and I do have a wrap-up video coming up for both of them. I know that with this one, it was so popular, so much buzz about it over the summers, I was actually quite excited to read it, and it didn't disappoint. The next book on my list is Notting Hill Carnival, A West Side Story by Candice, Carty, Williams. This won't be the first time that Candice appears on my book haul. I have started reading this, as you can see my bookmarks in there. This is just a quick read. There's only about 100 pages in here, and I'm absolutely loving it so far. From the title, A West Side Story, obviously loosely based on Romeo and Juliet. It's about the story of Sapphire, who's the leader of the Red Roses, and after a tragic event, she vows to leave the Red Roses behind and follow a life without violence. One day, on her way to the Notting Hill Carnival, she bumps into Apollo. She does find out that Apollo is part of rival gang the Gold Teeth. I'm enjoying this book so far. It's obviously based in a modern London, based in a modern South London. You've got obviously the 2 rival gangs, you've got the hatred there, you've got the love story that's developing, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So this will potentially be coming up on my blog as a book review, so stay tuned. The next book on my list is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Now, this, I think everyone's heard of this book and definitely has heard of this author before. Obviously such famous works of like The Three Musketeers, The Man in the Iron Mask. This one follows the story of Edmond Dantes, who was wrongfully imprisoned and put into confinement, put into the fortress of If. He also does discover that there's a hoard of treasure hidden under the Isle of Monte Cristo. So not only does he go out to unearth this treasure, he also goes to plot the destruction of the 3 men that were responsible for his incarceration. Now, I was talking about this book with other booktube friends, and they were raving on about this book, and they were telling me how amazing it was. Let's just say At the end of that conversation, I ended up buying the book. The next book I bought was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Now, a quick synopsis of this is that A-grade student Pippa decides to write her final year project on the closed case of murdered schoolgirl Andy Bell. Now, as she does her research for this project, she ends up finding out some secrets that were never brought to light, and Andy's real killer is still on the loose. Sounded so interesting. I do like a bit of murder mystery, a bit of crime fiction. I can't wait to read. The next book on my list does not need no introduction, and it is Dorothy Coomson, All My Lies Are True. This is the fantastic, amazing sequel to her other book, The Ice Cream Girls, sorry. All I could say is that The Ice Cream Girls is I 100% recommend this book. Absolutely amazing. And the events that had happened to our two main characters in here, Serena and Poppy, unfortunately are still haunting them in this. This was 10 years in the making, and I cannot wait. So those are all my physical purchases for the summer season. Now on to all my Kindle Ebook purchases, and we kick off with the book that was recommended to me by another one of my booktube friends, Lizzie, Made for You by Kay Chantel. When I looked into the synopsis of this, when I looked to see what this book was about, I got so excited that I ended up buying the other two books in the trilogy. So a quick synopsis, especially of the first book, because I'm assuming what happens in the first book is a continuation in the other two books, is Aubrey West is the president and CEO of Atlanta Redbirds. She's also the heir to her father's multi-million football empire. She's a multi-millionaire and one of the wealthiest black women of Atlanta. But she's longing to find the right woman, someone that she can make a real genuine connection with, and not only that, someone that sees her and wants her not just for her wealth. Then on the other side of the spectrum, we meet London LaRue. Now, she's an entrepreneur who's hoping to open up her own clothing line. Already working 3 jobs, London has no time for love, and when a last-minute gig comes up to clean one of the apartments of the executives of the Atlanta Redbirds, you see where this is going.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
We meet 2 different women who are currently potentially looking for love, maybe not looking for love, have different dreams and goals in mind. I cannot wait to see where this relationship blossoms into. The next book I got is Last Tang Standing by Lauren Ho. Now, this sounded like a lot of fun when I read the synopsis. It sounds like it's going to be such a blast. It's about Andrea Tang, who is living the dream. She is a successful lawyer, she's got her own condo, she's got fantastic friends, and hopefully with a little bit more work, she's about to make partner at her firm. However, being of Chinese and Malaysian heritage, her parents are wondering why she hasn't married yet, why she hasn't settled down yet. So not only has she got her meddling family to contend with, she also has 2 love interests that are literally all thrown in the mix. I really like the sound of where this is going. I like the fact that you can never, no matter how big you make it, you can never get away from culture. You can never get away from expectations from your family. And when you've got more than one love interest already vying for your attention, I could smell the drama. The next book I bought was Finding Joy by Adriana Herrera. Desta Joy Walker finds himself back in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, due to a work obligation. Being back in the capital brings him both a mix of happy feelings and sad feelings. A local of Ethiopia, we meet Elias Fikra, who gets given the opportunity to study abroad in the US, but obviously he's having reservations about leaving his homeland, leaving his family behind. When Elias meets Desta, both men start to discover a new Ethiopia through each other's eyes. I really already like the 2 cultures. I like the relationship that we're going to start seeing blossoming between Desta and Elias. I'm intrigued to see where this story goes. The next book on my list is The Boyfriend Project by Farah Rahan. Now, this quick synopsis about this. Oh wait, the tagline. How many likes does it take to find love? Now, the general synopsis of this is Samaya Brooks finds out that she's been catfished by her 3-timing boyfriend when details of a date end up online, and not just herself but the other 2 women all decide to vow that for the next 6 months they'll be investing solely in themselves. This leads to Samaya developing the app that she's been dreaming of her entire life and finally putting herself first. As everything's going to plan, enter Daniel Collins. Now, Daniel ends up throwing a spanner into Samaya's works, but is Daniel really boyfriend material, or is he just too good to be true? The next book I bought is Real Men Knit by Quanah Jackson. Now, the tagline for this was fall in love one stitch at a time. So after the death of their adopted mother, 4 brothers struggle to keep open her beloved knitting shop while dealing with life and love. Now, one of the brothers, Jesse Strong is known for two things: his devotion to his late adoptive mother, and also the fact that he's a bit of a womanizer and a heartbreaker. He's the only brother that's opposed to closing the shop. So then Jesse reaches out to his childhood friend, Kerry Fuller, to help him figure out how to deal with the business side. Kerry, on the other hand, had a lifelong crush on him, and as the two start working together professionally, they start getting closer personally. Kerry is fully aware of his reputation and she knows what sort of man Jesse really is, but Jesse is determined to prove her wrong. This sounds like such a sweet and wholesome book, and the fact that you've got two childhood friends being in business together and potentially developing into something more, and maybe Kerry being the woman to change Jesse's ways. The next book on my list is The Authenticity Project by Claire Pooley. Now, this is about how a notebook brings together 6 strangers. And it all starts off with old retired artist Julian Jessup writes in his notebook the question, "Everybody lies about their lives. What would happen if you shared the truth?" Once he writes this, he leaves this in the cafe that he's in at the time, and the cafe owner finds this. Not only do they add to the story, but they make sure other people add to the question too. The exercise book finds its way around this group of people, and in the end, these people actually meet in real life back in the cafe. I was firstly sold by obviously the name, the title of the book, but apart from that, just the fact that you have 6 potential strangers who know nothing about one another, who end up answering this particular question and then having to all meet face to face after their stories, their fears, everything gets written down, and it just seems like one of those uplifting, heartwarming books. The next book on my list is One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. Now, a quick synopsis of this book: it's about Bea Schumacher, a plus-size fashion blogger who has great family, great friends, loads of Instagram followers. However, she is nursing a broken heart. She's also obsessed with this reality show. It's almost like a bachelorette type show called Main Squeeze. The only thing she's disappointed about is a lack of body diversity in the show. When one day the producers of Main Squeeze call her and ask her to be the next main star. So she does go on the show, and her intention is not to fall in love. She's on there to supercharge her career, to help subvert anti-fat beauty standards, and on top of that, to become an inspiration to women across America. But of course, once Bee's on the show and the cameras start rolling, she realizes things are a lot more complicated than she thought. I absolutely love the whole premise of the story. I love the fact that Bee, our main character, is a plus size woman. I love the fact that there's that potential where she's gone on there to have her own, like, she's not out there, she's not on there to find love, but at the same time, who could resist when you've got so many men vying for your attention? The next book I bought was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbett. Now, the general synopsis of this book is about Chloe, who is a computer geek who has a near-death experience, and from that she decides to come up with a list to help her, as the title states, get a life. And some of the stuff on this list include going camping, traveling the world with only hand luggage, and doing something really bad. So for her something really bad, she recruits the help of Redford Morgan. He is a handyman, he's got tattoos, he's riding a motorcycle, and on top of all of that, she's also spying on him. As Chloe embarks on her quest of becoming more rebellious, she does start to learn that there's more to Redford than his tough exterior. I like, again, the concept of 2 people from different walks of life coming for a main cause. In this case, it's Chloe and her wanting to, I suppose, get a life. I already sense the romance that's going to build between the 2 main characters, and yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes. The last ebook that I bought for the summer season is Chosen by O.M. Fuhr. This is part of a trilogy. The trilogy is called the Beautiful Ones Trilogy, and it's been described as a fast-paced thriller. Oh yeah. So just a quick synopsis. Olivia and Deanne are normal women. They lead relatively normal lives. One is a British lawyer, the other one is a geneticist, and they both decide to take up a new opportunity in Cambridge. When they get recruited into this secret organisation called the Cassandra Programme, they accidentally find themselves on a field mission, unprepared and unqualified. Now, I'm already liking the sound of this. It gives me espionage, spy thriller, James Bond, and depending on how I feel about this book, I'll definitely be continuing on with the trilogy. Now we're finally on the home stretch. We're down to the Audibles. I got 2 Audibles over the last couple of months for the summer season. The first one being My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. Now this is another Audible book that I listened to for Black Readathon Readathon, and again that will be part of my other video where I talk about this book as well. And the other Candice Carty Williams entry is Queenie. This is another audiobook that I picked up. This audiobook was also getting a lot of buzz over the summer. Queenie, the main character, the title character of this audiobook, is a 25-year-old Jamaican British woman. Unfortunately, she doesn't feel like she fits in either or culture. She also works at a newspaper where she's forcibly compared to her white counterparts all the time. She's just gotten out of a long-term relationship and had a messy breakup with her white boyfriend. With all of this going on, she starts to look for comfort in all the wrong places and in all the wrong beds of all the wrong men. And as she starts moving from one bad idea to another, she finally comes to realize, mate, what are you doing? Where are you going? What is going on? And she finds herself questioning her mere existence of life. This has also been described as the modern woman searching for meaning in today. This sounded exciting. I've got a feeling I'm going to really enjoy listening to Queenie. I mean, I'm already currently enjoying Candice's other book, so I know I'm going to 100% enjoy listening to this. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you did like my video, please do give me a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below if you've heard of any of these books, if you've read any of these books. Just like I said in my previous video, these won't be individual videos unless you want to hear reviews of these in particular. A lot of these books will end up on my website, on my blog, where I'll talk about some of the books in my book haul. And as always, come say hello to me on all my socials. They're also linked down in the description below. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time.